Glenn Beck made a curious argument about why you should support Ted Cruz.
This guy might have a better chance according to all the pundits, but I stand with principles. That makes all the difference in the world. And because of that, our guy has the best chance of winning. Because we have the Almighty God on our side. Trust in the Lord.
You see, this is what you argue when you're substanceless. When you have no policies to point to say, hey, this is how this guy's going to improve your life. Look at these policies I just outlined for you. When you can't do that, what do? You go out on stage, you have verbal diarrhea. He's been on 1,000 stages in the past few months. He's been campaigning for Ted Cruz like nobody's business. And he's out there and, it's at the point where he's like, fuck it. Just God's on his side. Whatever. Vote for him. God. So it's a little bit of that they have no substance, so they have to say shit like this. And it's also a little bit that Glenn Beck is actually a lunatic. And Glenn Beck, don't put it beyond Glenn Beck to think God is actually on Ted Cruz's side. This is the guy who said God killed Antonin Scalia to pave the path for Ted Cruz to win the White House. Who says that? Even right-wingers were like, hey, we like Scalia. Why the fuck are you saying God would kill Scalia? What the fuck, man? God, he's such a child, Glenn Beck. He's a freak show. Just, look at me, I say stuff. Do you like me? I have this empty void inside of me I'm trying to fill. Please like me. God's on my side. God's on Ted Cruz's side. Vote Ted Cruz. What a weirdo. And also, let's get serious. If your God supports Ted Cruz, fuck your God. I want nothing to do with your God. Your God sucks. If Ted Cruz is picked by God, that God's a douche. Sorry, but it's the reality. And I also love the arrogance of they're always so convinced oh, God's looking at us and what we do. We're so special and America's so great. All right, but wait, there was just an election in Iran. Was God intervening in that? Okay, I don't like that one. Push this guy aside. I kind of like Rouhani. Let me get other reformists in there. No, God doesn't care about the Iranians. Iranians, please. God cares about us, good Americans. Did he care about the people in Burundi? How about in Argentina? When there's an election in Argentina, is God all right, let me get involved here? No, it's only America. He only cares about it when it's America. And then remember, so Glenn Beck is a Mormon, but he calls himself a Christian. Some people consider Mormons Christians, whatever. We don't need to get into that now. Ted Cruz, of course, is a Christian. And these are guys who, they claim, God's on my side, God's on my side. Okay, then I have a question for Ted Cruz. Who would Jesus deny healthcare to? Ted Cruz, in the last debate, was out there saying, yeah, socialized medicine is a problem, me. I'm Ted Cruz, me. Socialized medicine is the worst, and your ration care, me. Well, Ted, in the U.S., 45,000 people die every year because they don't have access to basic care. That's in our private system. How many people don't have access to basic care in Canada? 0. Australia? 0. UK? 0. France? 0. Norway? 0. Are you sensing a pattern here? Need I continue? She's so concerned about rationing care. Unless we do it, and that's happy rationing. That's capitalist rationing. And if you die, whatevs. So here he is, bad-mouthing the shit out of socialized medicine, universal healthcare. He's like, your system is better with capitalism and free market. Me. Is that the system Jesus would be in favor of? Yeah, I can imagine Jesus giving a speech where he says, oh, it is okay, my son, if you have 29 million uninsured people. If you have 40 million, maybe a little too much, but 29 we can live with. 45,000 deaths a year for no health care we can live with. 48,000, now you have a problem. That was in his speech, I'm sure. Jesus gave a speech where he says, pre-existing conditions, it is something that people might not like, but hey, the insurance company's got to turn a profit. The CEO's got to buy another yacht. That was Jesus, right? It's amazing. These guys exploit religion and use religion to try to bolster up their message because they have no argument. They can't argue on policy substance. So what do? They say, I don't know, God wants you to vote for me, so vote for me. And then meanwhile, even if you look at some of the shit their God says, don't get me wrong, the Bible is half slavery and genocide and misogyny and bigotry and insane shit. That's the part they probably like the most. But all the other stuff like, disregard. All the stuff about being anti-rich, all the stuff about being pro-poor, all the stuff about helping the downtrodden, the sick, the left behind. Forget that part! But God wants me, even though I want to take away your health care.